Alfred Zimmerman was born on May 29, 1954, in the Lebanon Hospital. He grew up with his father, Aaron Zimmerman, and his mother, Patricia Swigert. He had a brother and sister, both of whom never served, and two foster sisters. Before he enlisted in the military, Mr. Zimmerman lived and worked on a farm. He enlisted on August 16, 1972, September 5, 1975. When he enlisted, he was put into the 25th Infantry Division in Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. Mr. Zimmerman planned to enlist when he was 16, but his parents wouldn't let him, so he waited until he was 18 to join. Mr. Zimmerman was so passionate about enlisting because he grew up playing Army as a child, and he thought it was his duty to fight for his country. It took Mr. Zimmerman a couple of weeks to get used to life when training. He explained that the sergeants were strict and the routine wasn't easy to adapt to at first. However, when he got the hang of things, Zimmerman started to enjoy training and learning different skills. After basic training, Zimmerman started specialized training, which took place in the afternoon. That he participated in was tunnel rat training and 90 mm gunner training. His tunnel rat training consisted of entering dark tunnels while armed and trying to avoid traps and other dangers.
Rat training like?
That was a little rough. It was really, it's hard to describe because it was sort of something that I had to do, and it was kind of short, but it was mostly learning how to tell the difference between the snakes and learning about booby traps and trip wires and things like that.
The other specialized training that Zimmerman participated in was 90 mm gun training, which is when he learned to operate an anti-aircraft gun.
And there was a lot of stationary targets, and there were moving targets that they had on little train cars, like a picture of a tank that would go by and you'd have to shoot them. And most of the time I did pretty well expert on them, and I won a lot of competitions, brigade competition and battalion competitions, and got a certificate and things like that for it.
Zimmerman also earned many medals and awards from his training, which included the Marksmanship Badge. He earned this badge by excelling at the tasks of shooting targets with the 90 mm gun. One day during training, Mr. Zimmerman experienced something he would never forget.
Did you harm or kill any soldiers within training?
No, I didn't. But in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, we had rifle training, and there was pop-up targets, and we were firing the M16. And they told everybody to lock and clear their weapons because there was something wrong with the one target, I believe it was, and there was I think a sergeant and a lieutenant that went up, from what I remember. And they went up to check the targets, and the one guy never locked and cleared his weapon, and he fired a few rounds, and he hit, I think, the lieutenant. And as far as, well, a lot of it was hush-hush. We never heard a whole lot about it, but I think he killed him. But I'm not perfectly sure, because we never heard. But he never did lock and clear his weapon.
Mr. Zimmerman's military experience was all training in preparation for the war if he would be on the front lines, but one time the training went too far.
A lot of times in permanent party in Schofield Barracks, every month there would be a battalion that would be on guard, and they'd come around, and no matter what time of the day, it'd be red alert, and you'd have to get all your equipment and run outside, get information, and they'd load you on trucks and take you to the airport like you're going to Vietnam or to war somewhere. Sometimes they load you on the planes, and you'd sit there in the airport for a while and just go through this drill. One time they loaded us on C-131s and loaded everyone off, and we took off, and they said we were going. We were headed for Hawaii, or for Vietnam. When that was the scariest part because a lot of guys were thinking about how to run. And guys were crying. They didn't want to go. But that was the scariest part that I can remember.
After going through all these different experiences, Mr. Zimmerman left the Army after serving 3 years, but he will never forget the feeling of serving the nation he loves. His arrival home had its ups and downs. After flying home from Schofield Barracks, Hawaii, he was received home with quite a bit of mixed emotions.
Were you received by your family and community?
Pretty good by the family. Some of the community was a little tough at that time when we came back. We were basically baby killers and murderers, but basically it was pretty good.
Even after getting hate for fighting for his country, Mr. Zimmerman never lost pride in what he did. Mr. Zimmerman always wanted to join the military ever since he was little, and once he did, he got the opportunity to be called a veteran, which is one of the highest titles you can receive in life. We would like to thank Mr. Zimmerman for his hard work and dedication to serve for his country. His service is greatly appreciated.